Hi, this is Drew Tonneson from Dell Engineering. I'm going to go through one of the features or multiple features that are inside the VSI 10.4 release for PowerMax NFS. So in the 10.4 release, there's a big focus on snapshotting on the PowerFlex side and on the PowerMax side. I'm just going to walk through some of the different features in kind of the standard format that I've been relying on, which is just walking you through what's possible now, without any scripted, things to accomplish. I thought, we're just going to go in and look at what you can do. So I have NFS set up here. This is obviously my array. I'm just using a single NAS server here, which I've called test. And I have a couple of file systems here, NAS mount and NFS VSI. The NFS VSI is the one we'll use as a data store in the vCenter to do the different testing. So let's pop over to VSI here. We have our NFS data store that I mentioned, and we're in our configure tab and the configure storage tab where we keep everything related to VSI. And we've had this existing functionality of NFS integration for a while. The difference here will be the new tab here for snapshots, as well as when we go into our access and connectivity, right? So the first thing we can do is we can create a snapshot, right? So I can come out and create a test snapshot, give it a service level, choose whether I want to have data reduction associated with it, and then retention policy, I can have it retained and automatically delete. I can do no automatic deletion and leave it out there. NFS snapshots here don't allow secure, so there's no secure here. There's no secure here either. If I go in and look at the environment within Unisphere and go to my snapshots, if I were to create one here, you can see I'm given essentially the same information. My access type down here I could change, but it's the same retention policy and the data reduction, right? So we're using the existing functionality through the REST. So let's take our test snapshot here. So this is going to run, it triggers the event as async. So you can see down here in the tasks, it's going to go out and issue it. And it'll pop up there if we went out to VSI, to Unisphere out here and looked for the VSI snapshot. It's going to show up. All right, so I have my snapshot. What can I do with it, right? Well, if we look at the details and go up to more actions, I'm going to have the ability to mount it, to restore it, or to refresh it. So let's just run through a couple of these simple ones. Let's go out to look at our files. So right now inside this data store, I've got these folders here. Let's create a new folder and we'll call it before restore, right? So this folder did not exist when we took the snapshot. So I should be able to go in and do a restore and it should go back to the way it was without that folder, right? So inside of our snapshots, click on this, restore. Now we'll get this little warning message here about preventing data corruption. Essentially, if you're familiar with just regular VMFS restores, I provide a process in the documentation. I simply don't think this is enough to just quiesce the applications and flush the host cache. I wouldn't do that if I had VMs running on it. I would actually shut down the virtual machines. I would unregister them. I would restore and then put them back. I think that's a lot safer. If you're just storing files there, ISOs or whatever, obviously it's not the same thing. But if you have VMs, I would go a little bit farther than this is suggesting. The other thing you can do is before you do the restore, if you want to take a backup of um, the environment before you do the restore, so just in case something goes wrong, always a good practice. and we'll issue the restore. Again, it's going to issue async, and we'll get another task down here. And this doesn't take too long. So restored from the snapshot. Now, if I come out to my files directory again, remember I have this before restore folder. If I refresh now, it's gone, right? Because I restored the snapshot that I had taken before I did the folder. Right? So, you know, pretty straightforward. You also have the ability to do a refresh instead of a restore if you wanted to. So when you look at the refresh, basically what the refresh is saying is just take another snapshot of the existing state of the data store, right? It doesn't uh, uh, really need to show this one because it's basically the same thing. You're just going to refresh the existing one. So if I created that new folder and I'm like, oh, I should really have that as my snapshot golden copy, I could come out here and just do a refresh and say, you know, give me the latest that's out there because that's what I want it to be. And you get the refresh time changes here, right? Pretty straightforward. And then the other thing we can do here is we can do the mount. So if I clicked on my test environment here and ask it to do a mount, it's going to provide me an interface here where I can provide a data store name, my NAS server, as I said, I only have one, and choose where I want it mounted. I only have this server that's doing NFS right now, and we'll just leave it as read-only, that's fine, and then we'll just set the access to read-only, right? And then we'll go and mount that. So what it'll do is it'll go out, create a clone, and then take that clone and come out and create the data store on it. So here's test 2 now, and it will basically give me the information for this particular one out here, right? So this is a completely different mount out here, NFS file system. If I came out here into Unisphere and I clicked on my file configurations and my file systems here, right? I see I have test 2 out here, right? So it's its own deal, you know, not related to the other ones, and I can treat it that way on this side. And in fact, once you've done this, there's no longer any association with this data store, right? So because I've created a clone, so there's no tying here at all. So if I come out here to my snapshots, um, there's no action here for unmounting or anything like that because there isn't anything to do. If I mount it again, it would create another file system and make that available. So it's not there. But if I'm out here in test 2, I'll have access to whatever connectivity is set up for it. So you can see here, it'll show me my host, how it's connected, read-only, my mount point. So otherwise, the last thing maybe I want to do is delete them. I can come out and choose to delete the snapshots I created, terminate, remove them. It'll, again, run the job out here. And any of the snapshots that existed for our NFS VSI are going to be gone. Right. If I want to get rid of the other environment I created, this one, right, I've got to come out and, you know, do an unmount as if I created it separately, which I did, to remove it, right? I can't remove it from that other interface. So it's pretty good functionality there. NFS is not a, it's not a big play for us, I guess, in the PowerMax space. I don't have a lot of customers that use it in VMware other than for like file store, content libraries, things like that, which is a great use for it. And if you need to create snapshots, and now you have that capability. Thanks.